Welcome back to Sunday Afternoon Fika. I'm Kate.
And I'm James.
And we're going to have coffee and we're going to have a little goodies with us. And we're going to talk about a wonderful hymn called My Times Are in Thy Hand. So, let me see. I just want to show you my quarantine project 3 months ago. I finally finished today. Dun dun! My 1,000 cranes. Oops! Look how beautiful it is. And I'm so happy it turned out really pretty. So it's about 996 cranes. It's a little short of 1,000.
Why did you just make 4 more?
Happens sometimes. Yeah. So I am ready to give this away to my friend tomorrow. And I'm so thankful that she's actually recovering very good. She had brain bleed and aneurysm and stroke. But her recovery has been so remarkable. So I'm very, very thankful. And also, I've been baking a lot. Like I said last time, I've been baking a lot of bread.
Yep.
And it's crazy.
It's good though. It's really good.
Yeah. Since then, I made Swedish braided bread with cardamom in it. And I made chocolate chip pull-apart rolls. And yesterday I made lemon blueberry loaf. It was really lovely. But today we're not having it. We're having peanut butter brownies because I knew James was going to be with me today and he's not going to have lemon blueberry loaf. So, but this is really good. Have a bite. Cheers.
It's good. It's really good.
It has a crunchy, extra crunchy peanut butter in it. I like it. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So I'll put the recipe in the description down below.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay. So we chose My Times Are in Thy Hand today. Do you know the tune? You know the tune.
Yep. Goes,
One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It is a beautiful song. And I actually chose this song because I have another friend who is very, very dear to my heart, who's facing a surgery coming up this month in July. So every time I sing this song, I think of her, and I hope she will watch this episode because I dedicate this episode to her.
Yeah, if you don't watch this, we're doing this all for nothing.
Anyway, so this is just a very personal, beautiful.
It almost feels
thing. Yeah.
like when we read it, and it's almost going to feel like we're reading out of someone's like journal or someone's like diary.
But then when you read it though, or when you sing it, you completely agree.
Like you relate to it, yeah.
Yes, totally. So this song, My Times Are in Thy Hand, was written by William Freeman Lloyd. William Lloyd was born in Gloucestershire, England on December 22nd, 1791.
That same year, Mozart died.
Oh, if you put it that way. Wow. Wow. He had been keenly interested in Sunday school work, and he made a lot of great accomplishments regarding Sunday school work. So some of the accomplishments include a secretary of the Sunday School Union in 1810.
There was a union for Sunday school?
I know, sounds kind of odd. And he also connected with the Religious Tract Society in 1816. And he commenced at the Sunday School Teachers Magazine, and he produced various writings for Sunday school teachers. So he was a writer, and he was very active.
There was a magazine for Sunday school teachers? I feel like Sunday school was like so much more organized back then.
That's true. There are a lot of...
We have curriculums now, but...
And there are a lot of theologians who had hearts for children in Sunday school, that they wrote a lot of children's hymns. Anyway, so he passed away in the same place, Gloucestershire, England, on April 22nd, 1853. So that's pretty much all we know about him and his life. So let's look at the song. Verse 1.
My times are in thy hand. My God, I wish them there. My life, my friends, my soul, I leave entirely to thy care.
Okay, so that was the first verse. So this overall, I know you were saying that earlier today, that this song is about God's providence and sovereignty. So these times are basically life and
Everything
life events,
in it.
everything in it.
Mm-hmm. It's not just my time as in like one night it will die. It's my times as in every instance, every event, everything that happens. All my friends, everything I have are all in God's hands. And it's not just a matter of fact, because that is true, but not only that, the writer Lloyd says that he wishes them there. That's the only place that he would want them.
Yeah.
And that's because not only is God providential and sovereign, but he is good and loving.
I have nothing to add to that. But no, I do. This so this song is based on Psalm 31 verse 15. Would you read it for us?
Okay. Psalm 31 verse 15 reads, I'll read the verse before it. But I trust in you, O Lord, and I say you are my God. My times are in your hand. Rescue me from the hand of my enemies and from my persecutors, and make your face shine on your servant. Save me in your steadfast love.
So it's based on that psalm, you can almost glean from not that God has your life in his hand, but also he's active in it. He saves you and he blesses you.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, verse 2?
Yep.
All right.
My times are in thy hand, whatever they may be, pleasing or painful, dark or bright, as best may seem to thee. This kind of reminds me of when we did It Is Well.
Yeah.
That no matter what circumstances come our way, we can say, it is well with my soul, because our times are in God's hands.
Yeah. He's in control, and he's active in it. It's the best place to be in, and it's best. I think that's why right here is almost like a personal testimony, like you were saying earlier, that pleasing or painful, dark or bright, but my times are in your hand, Lord. Whatever they may be.
Yeah, as best may seem to thee. So, God knows what is best for us, and he works all things for our good. So sometimes those all things might not be good things. Sometimes they might be hard times or losses or, like darkness, like the author was saying, or painful, and sometimes they may be pleasing and bright, but whatever it is, the only things that God ever puts in our life, because we are in his hand, are what seems best to him. So we can take comfort in that.
Yeah.
Verse 3?
Yeah, verse 3.
My times are in thy hand. Why should I doubt or fear? My Father's hand will never cause his child a needless tear.
I like this verse. In verse 2, we sang about how if it is, whether or not it is pleasing or painful, bright or dark, as best may seem to thee. And this best that seemed to God, and we completely, wholly trust in him because we know, we just look at verse 3, that he's not going to cause us needless tears. So when we go through dark times, it's not unnecessary.
Yeah, you might have heard the phrase that God will never give you more than you can handle. And I think a better version, or no, not even version, a better phrase to use if you're thinking along that mentality is that God will never give you a needless tear. Because, God will give you more than you can handle. That's why you will have tears. But he's never going to give you a tear that isn't necessary, that isn't useful. God is economical, that he doesn't waste. He will never give you a tear that isn't for your good. I think that is really important to keep in mind when you're going through a hard time, because when we're going through suffering, crying is often what we do to, when we react or when we think about what we're going through, we often cry. But every time we cry, we have to remember that for those who are God's people, none of the tears that fall from your eyes are wasted. are useless. Every single one was appointed by God and planned by God for your good. And I think that the writer of this hymn here understands that really well, and he is alluding to God's complete control and complete love for his people. That every time you cry, it's exactly what God planned, and it's only for your good.
Yeah, and then that his purpose and his fruitfulness in our lives are something that we can look forward to. And it doesn't say, hey, through this dark times and painful times, you're going to be stronger than ever. That's not his purpose. But it's okay to cry, because we have necessary tears, and then Jesus cried, and it's okay to cry, but in our crying, knowing that this is not a needless tear. The God has purpose in it, and God is glorifying himself through it, and he's showing Christ to us in our tears. And I like this verse.
One other thing is that that our Father's hand will never cause his child a needless tear, but that doesn't mean he doesn't cause his children any tears.
Right.
We know, we read in Lamentations 3 that is it not from the mouth of God that both good and bad come, that God, will bring trials into our lives, not because he is, an evil God or takes pleasure in our suffering, but we read in Scripture that, God uses trials to refine us and to, make us more like Christ. So he will cause us tears to do that, but he never causes us needless tears.
Right.
Okay, verse 4. My times are in thy hand, Jesus the crucified. Those hands my cruel sins had pierced are now my guard and guide.
Oh, I love this verse too.
Yeah, I know.
So tender. In this little short verse, it shows our lowest of lows and highest of God or Christ. That how our cruel sins pierced Christ, his hands, but those hands are now our guard and guide.
Yeah, that Christ forgave us and showed us mercy when he could have used those hands to, bring us judgment for our sin. Like we all would. If anyone pierced our hands, we would want to, strike back. And we of course are already sinful, but Jesus, sinless, would have had every right to do that. But he did not. He showed us mercy, and with the hands that we wounded with our sin, he uses those same hands to, guide us. And
that reminds me of the 1 Peter 2, 24 and 25, that how by his wounds we have been healed. Well, it's from Isaiah 2, but Peter reiterated that how by his wounds we were healed. That the wounds that was caused by our sins, but we are the recipients of that, the healing of our sinfulness. There's actually a fifth verse that is not included in this Trinity hymnal.
I did not know that.
Can you look it up, James?
Yeah.
And then I don't know why it's omitted, because I think it concludes so beautifully of this hymn. Hold on. Verse 5.
My times are in thy hand, I'll always trust in thee, and after death at thy right hand I shall forever be. That's interesting. I was when we were reading the last verse, I was kind of thinking like, this hymn would have ended a lot better if it alluded to, eternity like other hymns do. But it does. I don't know why it's not included. But.
Yeah.
All right.
But that's the hope that is promised and secured, and that we will be at the right hand of God with Christ. Forevermore. I hope you like this song. I really do.
It's a hymn that I go to when I'm feeling down, and I'm having a hard time with anything. It's just a good reminder that our times are in his hand always, every time.
Mm-hmm. This is a wonderful hymn of very simple. You don't have to know a lot of theological terms to understand.
Yeah, no, it's very deep, but it's simple, which makes it, really useful when you're going through a hard time to comfort you, uplift you.
Yes. So I hope you will use this hymn to lift up your soul when you're going through hard times, and when you're going through pleasing times too, that all our events of life, good and bad, easy and painful, they're all in the Lord's hand, which is the best place to be.
Yeah.
Well, have a wonderful Lord's Day afternoon, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.